Hey everyone! Today we're going to talk about something truly spectacular, the rainbow. We're going on this incredible journey, starting way back with ancient myths and going all the way up to some really cool modern-day AI.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? You see one, and it just stops you in your tracks. You have to look. It's this universal thing that feels, I don't know, kind of magical. So where does that feeling really come from?
All right, let's get into it. For millennia, the rainbow has been this amazing bridge. And I don't just mean a literal bridge in old stories. It's been a bridge between that feeling of pure wonder and our deep-seated need to figure things out.
You gotta remember, long before we had the science, we had stories. And in those stories, a rainbow wasn't just, light hitting water. No way. It was a sign from the gods, a path to another world, sometimes even a living creature. It was how we made sense of something so beautiful and mysterious.
And you see this one idea popping up all over the place, this idea of a connection to the heavens. So many different cultures looked up at that arc and saw more than just pretty colors. They saw a real, physical bridge to the gods. And this is where it gets really fascinating. Look at these different stories. They all shared this core idea. For the Norse, it was the Bifrost Bridge, taking warriors to Asgard. The ancient Greeks, they believed it was the path of their messenger goddess Iris. And for many indigenous Australian cultures, it's the rainbow serpent, this incredibly powerful creator spirit connected to life, water, and the land itself. So that's the thing to remember. These weren't just simple fairy tales. Not at all. These were core beliefs. They explained everything. The world, what happens after you die, our place in the universe. The rainbow was right at the heart of their culture.
Okay, so we've been in the world of myth. Let's fast forward a bit. We're heading into the Age of Enlightenment now, and a totally new way of explaining the rainbow is about to emerge. And it's going to change everything.
And the person who kicked it all off? Sir Isaac Newton, of course. He took this thing that was seen as mystical and divine, and he looked at it through the lens of science. And the goal wasn't to ruin the magic, not at all. It was just to understand it. And here's the big breakthrough. Newton figured out that what we see as white sunlight, well, it isn't really white. It's actually a mix of all the colors of the rainbow, all mashed together. He proved it with a simple glass prism. And that process of splitting light into its colors, that's what we call dispersion.
And what Newton figured out with his prism is exactly what's happening inside every single raindrop during a shower. It's a three-step dance. First, light enters the drop and bends. That's refraction. Then it bounces off the back of the inside, that's reflection, and finally, when it leaves the drop, it bends again, and that's when it splits into that amazing spectrum of color. It's this tiny, perfect little process, happening in millions of raindrops all at once.
And what's cool is that this same exact science explains other, much rarer things. Ever heard of a moonbow? It's the same deal, just a rainbow made by moonlight instead of sunlight. They're way fainter, obviously, but the physics is identical.
Science even explains the really wild stuff. You know, a double rainbow? What's going on there? It's just a second reflection of light inside the raindrop. And that's also why the colors in that top rainbow are always flipped in reverse. And what about those super faint pastel-colored bands you sometimes see right inside the main arc? They're called supernumerary rainbows, and they're caused by something a little more complex, light waves interacting with each other.
But here's what I think is the most interesting part of this whole story. You'd think that explaining the science would kind of kill the magic, right? But it did the opposite. Understanding how it worked didn't take away its power. It actually freed it up to become a symbol for all sorts of new, powerful human ideas.
And you can really see that evolution right here. Back in medieval times, it was seen as God's promise to humanity. Then, for the Romantic poets, it was all about the pure, untamed beauty of nature. Jump to 1978, and it's reborn as this incredible symbol for LGBTQ+ pride and diversity. And today, you see it used as a symbol of hope and a better future for our planet. It just keeps evolving.
And yeah, that year, 1978, that was a huge turning point. The artist Gilbert Baker designed the rainbow flag, and he gave the world this symbol that was just perfect. It's instantly recognizable, it's packed with meaning, and now it's a global icon for unity, for inclusion, and for hope.
All right, so for the last part of our story, we're going to bring everything full circle. We're going to see how some seriously futuristic tech is now being used to connect that ancient, mythic wonder with our modern scientific understanding.
There's this group called the Virtual Creative Factory, and what they're doing is pretty mind-blowing. They're using AI to explore the rainbow. But get this, the goal isn't to explain away the wonder. It's to go deeper, to see the rainbow as this perfect meeting point for science, for myth, for nature, and for human creativity.
And their toolkit is just incredible. They have these advanced lenses that can analyze the physics of a rainbow in real time. But here's the magic. They combine that hard science with an AI they call the Mythos AI lens. And what it does is connect the physics to all those cultural stories we were just talking about. You know, the Bifrost Bridge, the rainbow serpent, all of it. It brings the two worlds together.
So really, what they're trying to do is blend these two things. It's not about just explaining the science. It's about respecting both sides of the story. They're showing us how you can appreciate the physics of light while also having this deep respect for the powerful myths and symbols that humanity has created around the rainbow for thousands of years.
And maybe that's the real secret to the rainbow's power, right? It's not just that it's pretty. Its magic lasts because it's two things at once. It's an amazing scientific phenomenon, and it's a powerful cultural symbol. It really is a bridge between worlds, in more ways than one.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. The story of the rainbow seems to prove that understanding something scientifically doesn't have to kill the magic. In fact, it can even add to it. So, as our technology gets more and more powerful, is it going to help us see more magic and wonder in the world around us? Or will it just try to explain it all away? It's a pretty cool thing to ponder. Thanks for joining me.